Hi, I'm lost in thought. Hey everybody. Okay, welcome to another video. Just getting over a little bit of a creepy cold. I think I don't know if it was cold or just sinus problems, but it has been a little while since I posted a video to this channel. And to be honest, it's just been a combination of weather and time and work that really just haven't had the good crossroads, if you will, to create any flying videos. I have flown since my last video, but haven't really posted anything. But anyways, what I wanted to do is just give you a little bit of an update on my little animation efforts here. What you see on the screen here is a kind of a, I guess it's a step, it's a place in the road where I've actually created something that I can say, wow, I'm proud of that. I like that. And some of this was pulled off of tutorials. Some of it was really my own character creation. And I'll just give you a little bit of a rundown. Maybe you enjoy this kind of stuff. Maybe you don't care about it at all. Again, this is not at all intended to be a tutorial. You can watch dozens of those online. That's how I've learned. I don't do this for a living. I do it for a hobby. But what you see here is I've created this little. Oops, I want to change that back to. I'm not going to lock the camera to view here. That way I don't screw something up here. So what you see here is a character that I've created. And this character is actually, he can move around. He's got tons and tons of a armature. He's got a whole armature in here. As you see, all these bones that allow me to tweak and move him. I guess it's a him. And allow it to, I can tweak the actual structure here. I can change things like the how his eyes watch, like he'll follow these, right? This is an armature, and this is the way you do animations. And then I can change his brow expression like such. I can even individually kind of turn the eyebrows down so you can get a kind of a wonky expression like such. I can make him look a little sinister if I want to by pulling these down slightly like that. I like that. Yeah, that's nice. Tweak his mouth. I can tweak his mouth. And then when you, I'm in the material mode right here, but when I want to basically render the scene out, I hit the render button. And again, when I render things, you're going to notice that my computer starts running a little hot, and so what ends up happening is you hear that fan noise, so I apologize for that. But then you get this really nice, I'm only rendering at 32 passes, I think, just for the sakes of this video, so I'm going to increase that a little bit. And what this character is supposed to look like, he looks like he has a skin disease or something, but he doesn't. He's actually made from wood, and it's a story that I'm sort of thinking about doing. But I think this is so cool. I mean, I really think that's pretty cool how it all renders out. You can see the nice glow. A little bit of compositing was done at the end to give it a this nice warm glow and everything. But each one of those actions, just to give you a example, and I'm doing this, I'm not a pro at this, so some of this will look like I'm pecking around here, not knowing where in the world what I'm doing. But that's because I kind of don't. But right here, this is called the dope sheet, and literally I pulled up the action for eye movement here. Each one of these is a keyframe for those bones to actually move. You call each one of these little things that are like these little deals here, those are like bones, right? And these are actually attached to shape keys through drivers. And I mean, I could get into all the odds and ends of how much. Again, the purpose of this is not a tutorial, but just to show just a brief overview about what's happening here. But anyways, you have your mesh, which is this outside character that I modeled out. And remember that video I talked a while back where I was like, oh, wow, you're going to make your mesh topography such that you can actually basically control it with bones. Well, this is what I was talking about. right? So when I get in this and let's go into get out of material mode, go into solid mode, and this is actually a proxy of the actual creature, or the little woodsman. So I'll jump into that here shortly. But staying on track, this is that kind of mesh that I was talking about, such that you can rig it and it morphs and changes in a way that makes sense for animation. And then each one of these, this is for this particular program. I'm sure pretty much they're all similar. Each one of these are actions. So I have one in here for eyes. If I pull up that action item, so eye movement, I have the keyframes to make the eyes twitch around, and you'll see the finished animation. If I don't put it on the front of the video, I'll put it on the here shortly. And then I did a little backwards. I voiced over with a new mic that I bought, him talking, and it's just my stale voice, just to show how it works. There's no lip sync involved here, and in actuality, if I was doing this, when I do this for other clips, I'll actually record my voice and my facial movements with the camera prior to animation. This one was a little different because I'm just learning how to do this stuff and having fun, so I don't have to do it in any order. So basically I've combined a whole bunch of actions here, talking, head, neck movements, eye movements, to give him a realistic look. And so what that turns out to look like, and I'll pull this up here. So let me open this AVI file up here. What that ends up looking like is this. When you render all the signs. So at the end, I'll say what I was actually saying, but you can see you get this nice warm glow from the candle going, and because I followed a tutorial online, the candle actually quits animating about right, excuse me, about right here. But you can see the eyebrow movement right here, the blinks, those are only, I think, 3 frames. The blinks are like 3 frames, and then and everything. But it's pretty fun. I just thought I'd just give an update. I'm not gonna beat this to death. It might be only a 7-minute video. Really quick here, I'm going to jump into, I'll open the, I think this is the one where I can get into the mesh to show you what a mesh looks like here. So let's see here. And then I'm just going to open this up to 3D view. Yeah, and then I'm going to get into that. That's the mesh, right? So this is the character. The other thing is just a proxy, which is an easier way of creating scenes, but your geometry for each one of your objects in your screen is located in another place. Therefore, after you do a whole bunch of scenes with the same geometry in them, if you want to change something, you only have to change your original. And then that propagates over through with the proxies. But you can see what I'm driving here. If I come in here and I come in here and I go to each one of my shape keys, all these things over here to the right are the shapes keys that I'm using, okay? And then each one of these is actually pushing what we call a driver, okay? And when I pull up the drivers here, I'm gonna pull up this, and I'll instead of doing that, each one of these is the drivers. So if I click on the lid, and you come in here, I'm using the rig bone, one of those bones that's over here. Let's go ahead and get this. One of these bones right there that you can kind of see here. I'm in the mesh, so it's not allowing me to select the bones. I'm using those to push the driver, and then I have a little bit of an F curve on here. Sorry, it's a modifier. And I'm multiplying the amount of movement on the bone to increase the amount that I affect the shape key. And then I also then constrain that bone over a certain distance local to the local space, so you don't end up, when you're animating it screws up your bones when you sit down and all of a sudden locks them all out. That allows me to, that's a very poor way of talking about how to make it easy to animate each facial feature. because it is very, very fun, but it's fairly involved. So let's get out of this dude, and I'll show you a little bit of other things you can do. So I'm using, let's see here, I'm using the Rigify, and I don't have shape keys on because this is not intended to be a tutorial, but you can see you can move this little guy around, right? If I want to, I can come in here and rotate. I'll jump to the top here and make his, bend his arm around, maybe rotate his arm around a little bit, like such. You can get these all wonky shapes. You can bend, and then you can come down and, bend his fingers. Let's see here, G, and then drift around here. Maybe curl his thumb down a little bit, like such, and then, and I'm not going to get into all the how things are colored and things like that, but you can watch tons of tutorials on figuring all that. But anyways, that's what I've been doing. I haven't had a lot of time to spend on flying or fishing or drone. I have been practicing on the simulator on the drones because weather doesn't matter for that. But it's been just cold and rainy and not the best for my other hobbies. But I figured, hey, I'll post a video about the animation, and I don't know, that's just another cool little thing. I love it. It's a lot of fun to do at night, when it's too dark. Thank goodness it's finally, the time has changed, and hopefully get more daylight at the end of the day and kick this sinus mess. But enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye.